From the moment we're old enough to understand the world around us, we are taught that progress equals movement. We are told that those who wake up earlier, work longer, and hustle harder are the ones who deserve success. The culture around us glorifies speed. It celebrates the ones who are always on, always chasing, always producing. And so, without realizing it, we begin to attach our worth to our pace. We begin to believe that the faster we move, the more valuable we are. That if we slow down, we're falling behind. That if we rest, we're wasting time. But this belief system has quietly become a trap. It creates a world where exhaustion is seen as dedication and burnout is confused with passion. People wear their tired eyes like medals, proud of their endless grind, even as their energy fades and their sense of joy disappears. We've been conditioned to see stillness as failure because we live in an environment that measures value by visible effort. If you're not visibly struggling, if you're not visibly pushing, then it must mean you're not trying hard enough. The truth, though, is that stillness is not the absence of growth. It's the birthplace of it. When we slow down, we give ourselves permission to notice. We notice what's actually working and what's not. We notice the feelings we've been avoiding. We notice that some of the things we've been chasing aren't even ours to begin with. But because we're always moving, we never stop long enough to ask the most important question, why am I running? The fear of slowing down is not really about time. It's about identity. We fear what will happen if we stop moving because we've built our entire sense of self around being busy. Stillness feels uncomfortable because it removes the noise that distracts us from ourselves. It forces us to face what we've been running from. Our doubts, our fatigue, our unmet needs, our unhealed parts. But it's in that silence that wisdom grows. It's in that space that clarity begins to form. Stillness is not failure. It's honesty. It's presence. It's the moment your mind finally catches up with your body and whispers, "You're safe now. You don't have to rush anymore." We've spent so much of our lives trying to prove we're moving forward, when maybe what we really need is to stop and realize that we've already come far enough. We live in a time where doing more has become the default answer to everything. Feeling lost, do more. Feeling insecure, work harder. Feeling unfulfilled, take on another project, start another hustle. Fill your calendar with more things to prove you're not standing still. Productivity has become our coping mechanism. It's how we silence the fear of not being enough. We confuse productivity with purpose, thinking that as long as we're busy, we're valuable. But that's the illusion. The illusion that movement equals meaning. It's not. You can be incredibly busy and still be completely lost. You can be working every day and still be drifting away from what truly matters to you. We've mistaken activity for achievement. And in that confusion, we've built a culture that rewards exhaustion more than effectiveness. Think about it. When was the last time you took a full day to rest without guilt? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to stop, not because you earned it, but because you needed it? For most people, that thought alone creates anxiety, because rest feels like a threat to the identity we've built. The identity of being useful, productive, efficient. We've tied our self-worth so tightly to output that the moment we pause, we feel worthless. The illusion of constant productivity is dangerous because it blinds us from noticing what we're actually producing. We become so focused on doing something that we forget to question why. And over time, that noise drowns out our intuition. We stop listening to what we truly need. We stop noticing the moments that matter. We start living mechanically, waking up, working, sleeping, repeating, until one day, we realize that the very thing we were working so hard for has lost its meaning. True productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with clarity and purpose. It's about slowing down enough to choose intentionally rather than react impulsively. It's about quality, not quantity. When we rest, when we pause, we allow the mind to breathe. We give space for ideas to form, for perspective to grow, for alignment to return. Rest is not a waste of time, it's an investment in it. It's the quiet interval that makes the next movement stronger. There's a reason nature moves in cycles. The sun rises, the sun sets. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. The seasons shift from bloom to stillness and back again. Every living thing understands balance. Every living thing except us. We've built a world that ignores natural rhythm, one that worships perpetual motion. But even the strongest waves need to retreat before they crash forward again. Rest isn't what happens when you've done enough. Rest is what allows you to do your best. It's the quiet recalibration that restores clarity and focus. You can't run forever without losing direction. The mind, like the body, needs recovery to perform at its best, yet we treat rest like a luxury, something we have to earn. We forget that it's not indulgence, it's maintenance. Think about the greatest insights in your life, the moments when something finally made sense, when you saw a problem differently, when an idea suddenly clicked. Chances are, those moments didn't come while you were pushing. They came when you were still, walking, sitting quietly, or doing nothing at all. That's not coincidence. That's how the brain works. It solves deeply when it's quiet. Rest prepares us for what's next. It sharpens the blade. It allows reflection to transform into wisdom. When you slow down, you don't lose momentum. You align it. You begin to see where your energy truly belongs and where it's being wasted. And when you return from rest, you move forward not with exhaustion, but with precision. Our culture celebrates the grind, but the grind without grounding is chaos. Rest gives that grounding. It turns frantic energy into focused purpose. It transforms fatigue into strength. It's not the pause between achievements, it's the fuel that powers them. Without it, progress becomes a loop, endless motion without direction. With it, progress becomes meaningful. One of the most powerful fears that drives our exhaustion is the fear of falling behind. It's quiet, but it's always there, whispering in your mind when you take a break, when you choose to rest, when you dare to pause. You look around and see everyone else moving, posting, building, achieving, and suddenly stillness feels dangerous. You begin to question yourself. You start believing that if you slow down, you'll lose your place in the race. But what race? Who decided it even exists? This fear is not about the world moving faster. It's about our perception that we're moving slower. We measure ourselves through comparison, not through alignment. We see success as something that can be lost if we don't constantly chase it. And in that chase, we forget that no one's life moves at the same rhythm. Every journey has its own timeline. Every purpose has its own pace. The fear of falling behind blinds us to that truth. We live in an age of exposure. Everyone's progress is visible. Every promotion, every achievement, every highlight. But what we don't see is the silence behind those moments. The tears, the doubts, the pauses they don't post. So we assume everyone else is moving faster, doing better, living stronger. And in that illusion, we begin to run. Not because we're inspired, but because we're scared. We rush, not because we're clear, but because we're afraid to look like we're standing still. But falling behind is not about speed, it's about direction. You can move fast and still go nowhere. You can run endlessly and still be lost. Progress is not measured by how quickly you reach the next milestone. It's measured by how deeply you understand why you're moving at all. The truth is, when you slow down intentionally, you don't fall behind, you start moving at your true pace. You begin to notice things you once overlooked. Opportunities, insights, emotions, people. The fear of slowing down comes from believing life is linear, that success has deadlines, that time is running out. But life is not a straight line. It's not a ladder, it's a landscape. Some seasons require stillness. Some seasons demand retreat. And those moments don't mean you're behind. They mean you're growing roots. The most powerful growth often happens underground, unseen, in silence. So when the world tells you to keep running, remember that strength isn't always shown in motion. Sometimes it's found in the stillness of not being afraid to stop here. You begin to create from fullness, not emptiness. And maybe that's what true strength really is. Not the ability to keep going no matter what, but the wisdom to know when to stop, when to breathe, when to restore what the world has taken from you. Because the goal isn't to outwork everyone else. It's to outlast what's trying to break you. And that requires peace. That requires stillness. That requires rest. So the next time your mind tells you that slowing down means falling behind, remember this. You are not losing time by resting. You are reclaiming it. You are not stopping your progress. You are protecting it. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the moments you thought were pauses were actually the moments that prepared you for everything that came next. Being fully present. It means allowing yourself to exist without needing to prove, to perform, or to produce. It's not weakness. It's awareness. It's the quiet acknowledgement that your worth was never tied to your speed. It's the understanding that clarity often hides behind silence, waiting for you to slow down long enough to hear it. It takes courage to be still, because stillness exposes the truth. It reveals what's been buried under business. Your fears, your insecurities, your needs. It brings to the surface the emotions you've been outrunning. But that's where transformation begins. You can't change what you don't face. You can't heal what you don't see. Stillness gives you the mirror you've been avoiding. In the still moments, you learn to trust your own timing. You begin to see that everything doesn't have to happen right now. You stop rushing into decisions that drain you. You stop chasing validation that never satisfies you. You start acting from purpose instead of pressure. That's real power, the power of self-leadership. The power to move not from anxiety, but from intention. Stillness teaches patience, and patience is the discipline of peace. It's the ability to hold your ground while everything around you demands motion. The strong aren't those who never stop, they're the ones who know when to pause. They understand that energy, like water, needs stillness to become clear again. That focus, like a flame, burns brighter when it's protected from constant wind. There's a hidden confidence that comes from stillness, a quiet kind of authority. It's the energy of someone who doesn't need to prove they're in control because they already are. Someone who doesn't react to noise because they've learned how to listen to silence. Someone who doesn't rush to chase opportunities because they've learned that what's meant for them will never require them to destroy their peace to have it for too long. We've defined success as achievement, as status, as more. More money, more recognition, more milestones. But if more were truly the answer, why do so many people with more feel less fulfilled? The truth is, success has been misdefined. It's not about how much you can do. It's about how whole you can be while doing it. Because what's the point of reaching everything you wanted if, in the process, you lose the parts of yourself that make life worth living? We've mistaken performance for purpose. We've confused being seen with being fulfilled. We've measured progress in numbers instead of peace. But true success isn't found in how busy your schedule is or how many goals you've checked off. It's found in the moments of alignment, when your actions match your values, when your work feels like an extension of your truth, when your life feels grounded instead of rushed. Redefining success means honoring balance. It means realizing that rest is not a reward for working hard, it's part of working wisely. It means understanding that a calm, clear, and rested mind can achieve more in a few focused hours than a burnt-out mind can in endless days. The future doesn't belong to those who work the longest. It belongs to those who sustain the longest. And sustainability requires wholeness. When you begin to see rest as strength, everything changes. You stop running from silence. You start creating from it. You begin to design a life that supports your well, being instead of constantly threatening it. You make decisions not from exhaustion, but from clarity. You stop living in reaction to pressure and start living in alignment with purpose. That's where true power begins. That's where success stops being a finish line and starts becoming a way of living. You don't need to do more to be more. You simply need to be present, to be intentional, to be whole. Because in a world that's always running, the one who knows how to rest will always move with the deepest strength written in your channel's signature tone. Calm, emotional, and thought-provoking, this final section flows naturally from the previous keynotes and is crafted to deliver a deep sense of peace, reflection, and empowerment in your outro scene. There comes a point in every journey when the noise becomes too loud, when the world's expectations start to drown out your inner voice, when every day begins to feel like a race with no finish line. And in that moment, the most powerful thing you can do isn't to speed up, it's to stop, to breathe, to remember who you are when you're not performing for anyone else. You see, we've spent so long chasing success that we've forgotten the purpose of it. We've been taught to measure our days by how much we've done, not how much we've felt. But when you slow down, truly slow down, you realize that most of what you were running after wasn't peace. It was distraction. It was the illusion of progress, the comfort of movement. Because standing still forces you to face the truth, and truth, by nature, demands honesty. Rest is not idleness. Rest is wisdom. It's the quiet space where perspective returns, where creativity breathes again, where meaning finds its way back into what you do. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what's necessary to become whole again. In stillness, you remember that you were never built to run endlessly. You were built to live deeply. The fear of slowing down comes from believing that life will pass you by if you stop moving. But the truth is, life passes you by when you forget to pause. The moments that define you, the lot of the love, the quiet pride of a day well lived, they don't exist in the rush. They exist in the spaces between it. The conversations you almost missed because you were too tired. The sunsets you ignored because you were too busy. The peace you postponed because you thought you hadn't earned it yet. But you don't have to earn peace. You just have to allow it. You don't have to prove your worth. You already are worthy. You don't have to keep running from stillness. You just have to trust that slowing down won't make you weak. It will make you wiser. Because when you pause, when you rest, when you give yourself permission to be, you begin to move from intention, not insecurity. You start to work from clarity, not fear. There's a kind of strength the world doesn't talk about, the strength to stop when everything tells you to keep going. The strength to listen when your mind says push harder, but your body says rest. The strength to choose peace when chaos feels familiar. In a world that glorifies loud confidence and visible hustle, stillness has become an act of rebellion. It's a choice to honor your own rhythm instead of the noise of everyone else's. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing one thing.